All right, hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Jessica. Today I'm going to do a video on my no-buy journey because Marta commented on one of my videos and asked for it. She asked, could you do a video on your no-buy journey? How did you start? How did you start it? When and how have you been feeling about things? And if you have any tips. So yeah, here we go. We're gonna get going in that. We're gonna answer all those questions. I guess to start, we kind of have to talk a little bit about when I wasn't on a no-buy. So basically, I think it was around 2012-ish. I started really buying a lot of things. I think it was 2012. Maybe it was a little bit later. It was probably a lot later, actually. I think it was around 2000. I'm really bad on timing, honestly. So anyways, I got into makeup really quickly, really fast. Basically, as soon as I started buying one thing, I very quickly started buying a lot more things to get my collection going. I kind of, in high school and things like that, like prior to that point in time, I was very much kind of using what I had. I wasn't really necessarily like super into it. Yeah, and then once I really started playing with like eyeshadow and everything, it kind of, I fell down the rabbit hole quickly. And part of that was purchasing from like Ipsy. I was subscribed with Ipsy for a little bit. And then of course I soon found out about BoxyCharm, which was like, oh, only $15 more. I think it was like 15 at the time, right? And it was all like 5 full-size products versus like 1 full-size product. So I was like, oh, well, of course, let's do that. So then I signed up for that. And I feel like that's really what filled out my collection very quickly. For those who know and like have done the subscription boxes, that's like really, you know, the big contributor to collection growth, I feel like, at least it was for me. So yeah, it was really easy to get hooked really quickly. Anyways, so whenever I moved up to, because I was living at home at the time, I moved up and went to college in San Francisco. When I did that move, I realized then how much freaking crap I had. Not necessarily crap. I mean, it was makeup that I enjoyed, I loved. I loved getting all these things. However, I was very overwhelmed with like that big move. With just all my things, because I also was bringing my furniture and all of that because I was moving into an apartment. Once I like had that, it was like, I have so many things. And so I kind of like started there, you know, curbing everything. And on that point too, I was like, okay, so now I can't just like spend, you know, everything, because now I have like rent to pay. So it was kind of like all of that, honestly, that like made me put a halt on things. I was still getting subscription BoxyCharm, but I was gonna be like, okay, I need to like not buy anything else for the most part. I think I had maybe a couple orders. I don't really remember exactly when I was like, I'm going on a no-buy aside from my BoxyCharm, because I think I kind of did it slowly. And then I did a no-buy. And that's whenever I started my no-buy 50 Project 50 pan. So basically as soon as that happened, I think I was like officially on my no-buy. I think that's whenever I was like, okay, because at that point BoxyCharm had completely stopped. Like I no longer was getting it. I made that commitment, and I think that's whenever I was like, okay, now that I'm no longer getting BoxyCharm, let's do this Project 50 pan, and officially start my no-buy. That video was uploaded on January 21st, 2019. I'm still in that project. Right now I have 39 products used up, so we're in 2021. So it's been at least 2 years that I've like officially stopped it. And I have my whole Project 50 pan, a whole playlist if you want to go back and watch it. You can, at the end of each update of the Project 50 pan, I go ahead and talk about like my feelings like with each month. So if you like have it documented a bit more. But yeah, that's kind of how it started. And again, I think the reason for starting it, I mean, there's been different reasons for keeping it going, meaning like sometimes it's like, okay, I really shouldn't be spending money, and maybe like a couple months are like tight. You know, I was in college and then I wasn't in college, and then I was looking for work, and you know, kind of back and forth, and then I had work. So, you know, there's like depending on, financial situations at the time, money, like the financial stuff was like driving it or not driving it. However, I think always, and I think because, again, these last like few years, actually like 4 years, I've been moving a lot. Kind of a lot. It's basically a move each year. And I know every time I move, I'm moving all my things. And so the less makeup items I can add to that, the better. Even though makeup is really small, some of them, it does add up eventually. So if that's like one less box I have to pack, one less thing that I have to worry about things breaking, then that's good with me. I think at the beginning, in terms of how I was feeling, in the beginning it was hard because I was so used to getting things in the mail, if nothing else, the dang subscription box of, this new thing. Oh my goodness, like what is it gonna be? Like, am I gonna love it? Just like this new thing to play with. And in the case of BoxyCharm, it was 5 new things each month. So yeah, it was definitely hard not to have that little adrenaline each month like come in. But I think that after having it, because I think I did BoxyCharm for 2 years. So after like 2 years of it, it eventually like wore off, like the excitement. Like I would get the adrenaline kick when I had it in my hands, but then after a while, especially because, maybe 3 out of the 4 or 3 out of the 5 things I wasn't gonna keep, or at least like, it was, another mascara that I like, they're good to have, but it's not necessarily like exciting. After 2 years of getting 5 things each month, obviously, like I was drowning a little bit. And I ended up being really good at giving things away that I didn't want anymore, or I felt like they weren't appropriate for me, like in terms of, my skin tone or like my makeup style, whatever it was. But I think it was one of those things where like eventually the excitement of it definitely wore off. Yeah, but anyways, in the beginning, it was hard not to have it. I definitely still wanted things. I was still like wanting to buy things, but I don't know, after a while of not having anything come in, of getting yourself off the hook of like getting new things, in your hand each month, I think too, the big, like it starts to ease off a little bit. And I think that also because I kind of switched my goal into something else, which is project panning, my excitement was able to like be put into something else, if that makes sense. I get excited when I use something up completely. I get excited whenever I see numbers go down in my inventory. So yeah, I don't know, when I hit pan on something, that's exciting as well for me. I don't know, like that, like adrenaline, I guess, is cool and exciting. And honestly, like I know that people also say, oh, declutter your stuff, like if you're not, but I've had my collection to the point where I know everything that I have right now I will use and I'll enjoy it when I use it. So sometimes every now and then I'll declutter, and through the years like of being on the no buy, I have decluttered some palettes and everything. But at least right now, I am really, really happy with my collection. And so what's going to bring me the most joy is when I use something up and like my numbers get smaller and smaller, because once I get it smaller and smaller, like, I don't know, I feel like then I can go out and like buy something and it be rewarding in the fact that a lot of what I have also right now, I'm not using, because I like to actually use something from start to finish. Even if I were to go out and buy something else at this moment in time, I know I'm not going to be able to use it in the way I would want to at this point in time, or at least like, I guess I could, but then I'd be ignoring more things in my collection. That's perfectly great stuff that I really do like and I really want to use, one day. But in terms of not buying things, that's kind of where my head space is if I were to go ahead and buy something right now, am I going to be able to bring it in and like love it and enjoy it before it goes bad or something else in my collection goes bad? And right now that's going to be a no. However, with my Project 50 pan, I also know like that having that kind of goal for me, I know it's a big number, but back in the day, I know I watched a ton of project panners to do like project 10 pan, where it was basically the same thing. They finish 10 products and then they can go out and buy something else. It's just a smaller number. I did the 50 because I know I have a lot of products. And I don't need to be buying more things. Like, it just, I know I don't. So it was kind of just like a number that, one is like, it's a lot of products, so that's good. And if I bought one thing, then at the end of it, like, I still feel like it wouldn't hurt my numbers as badly. I mean, that's kind of like how I've been feeling. Honestly, like, it's kind of ups and downs. I think the first like Christmas time, like when everything was coming out, I was really like struggling with it, especially because Too Faced brought out like the gingerbread spice palette, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, I love the smell of gingerbread, and like, that'd be so cool. Also, I don't think that it ended up smelling like gingerbread, so that was a good thing that I like dodged that bullet. But yeah, there were like some things that it was definitely hard in the beginning, just because I was so used to like buying things. Like, I was so used to having stuff come to me and buying things and having new. But I think also like the culture of YouTube has changed a lot since the beginning of this. Like, I feel like there's a lot more people being critical of the makeup coming out because we had such a surplus, that I feel like there's a lot of people online that you can kind of watch and everything, and they're gonna have like a critical eye on it and kind of talk you out of things. Like, it's not all just like, you need this anymore, because majority, like, at least the people that I watch, like, there's a lot of people who are like, yeah, it's cool. Like, they're all kind of on the journey that I'm on as well, in one way or another. Okay, let's move on to tips. I haven't really thought of tips. I guess the biggest tip I would give anyone who wants to do like a no buy is understand your why. Like, why are you going on this no buy? And I think also Hannah Louise Poston, she's a great person to watch, her no buy year, and then also I've watched her low buy year, like the year afterwards. After this year, I think she's going a little bit more like a little bit more fluid with her stuff, mainly because she's getting like PR and everything. But in terms of her no buy year, great person to watch. So check out her stuff because she puts it so much more eloquently than I would ever put it anyways. But yeah, I think figuring out your why you want to do a no buy is huge. If it is financials, then it's financials, you know, set your limits or understand, you know, that sort of thing. If it's like so many things, if it's not being wasteful, if it's, I don't know, like, just, yeah, I guess having too many things, I don't know, like, whatever your reasons for, you have to figure that out for yourself. And then I would say, you know, if you want to do, like, I like project panning. I know a lot of people, it's not for everyone. I also know a lot of people do project pannings like based on usage, based on just hitting pan, based on finishing things up. You could try any of those. I think that they're helpful, but again, some people, it drives them crazy because they just can't stick with one product forever. And I can't, I can do that. So yeah, I guess like just trying project panning to let you know how long it takes to use up something. And if you have, you know, 3 or 4 highlighters that look basically the same way and all that's different is like the brand name or the packaging around it, then obviously, you know, like, and you're someone who can't use the same highlighter like 10 days in a row, then you know that you might, you know, want to change your like buying habits, at least in the fact that like, okay, well, I'm not going to buy something unless it's like new to my collection, like a new actual product versus like just new packaging, if that makes sense. I also love like Lauren Mae Beauty. If you're someone who's really drawn to like color combinations, I know she does a lot of like duping, duping from her collection, like the vibes of something. Also her kind of like way of thinking about things of like basically if it's eyeshadow palettes that you're like, oh my gosh, like all of this looks so new. And it's like, it's just the different color combos. Like at the very end of the day, it's just the different colors. Like put together in like a sometimes cohesive, sometimes not cohesive way. So yeah, I guess it's also curbing what you watch. That also can help. So watching like anti-hauls versus, you know, monthly favorites, I don't know, like it'll help you. I think it can help having a critical eye on makeup and everything. But yeah, and then also I think a big thing as well is taking an inventory of your makeup. As wild as it is, and doing like an inventory in a couple different ways. Because what really helped me, I think, was the first time I ever did an inventory, like a numbers inventory, and I saw how much of each thing I had. I was like, whoa, because like I said, they're all kind of small things. It's really easy to kind of get carried away in like little tiny things and then realize you have 500 I don't know, makeup items or whatever. Like, you know, 500, it can add up, you know. So looking at the numbers, taking your inventory, and like I said, in different ways. Like I did originally eyeshadow palettes, like the numbers of that, and I think, you know, I had like 30 eyeshadow palettes or whatever the number is. And then this past year, I've actually changed it into looking at the individual pan and counting that. And, you know, then it skyrocketed from 30 eyeshadow palettes to now I have like 200 eyeshadows, like individual eyeshadows. Well, it's way too many colors, I know, for me. I think it helps a little bit because, you know, maybe you have like 30 like quads, and so it's not as like awful. But if you have, you know, 30 palettes that are all 35 eyeshadows in it, like, you know, maybe they're all like Morphe palettes, and you realize how many eyeshadows you actually have. So yeah, looking at it, at your collection via inventory numbers in different ways. And again, like getting familiar with your collection. How many neutral palettes do I have? How many colorful palettes do I have? If I were to buy something, like where would the whole be? For me, it's definitely bold colors, but at the same time, I don't wear a lot of bold colors. I know like the things that I like and don't like and the colors that I struggle with. And I don't necessarily need more of the colors that I struggle with because I know my makeup habits as well through project planning, and knowing that I'm okay with sticking with these same eyeshadows like for months at a time. I know like I'm not gonna need, like I don't need to do a neutral look and then the next day do a green look to like make myself, you know, more excited about my makeup. Like that neutral look will like sustain me for a couple months. Like I'm good. I guess it's a lot of knowing your collection really well, knowing yourself. And then the other tip is kind of not letting makeup be like this magical item anymore, like this magical thing that's going to change your life. And like, oh my gosh, like it's cool and it's pretty, but it's just, at the end of the day, it's just colors. It's just powders and creams that you put on your face or your body or someone else's face, whatever it is that you do with your makeup. But at the end of the day, it's just something like I feel like essentially it's paint, you know, like if you're an artist, then it's just different colors of paint. And at some point, like you can only have there's only so many colors in the rainbow, and where's the creativity if not like to mix the colors? Like maybe you can, you know, do different things like that. Like that's where like the creativity comes in, right? So I guess those are the tips. I don't know. Does anyone else have any awesome tips? And if y'all have been on a no-buy journey, leave it in the comments down below. Let us know how you have been feeling, like, and maybe where you're at right now with your low buy or no buy, sorry, excuse me, no buy. Yeah. Oh, another thing I should probably clarify, this should probably be at the beginning of the video actually too, but with my no buy, I had certain categories that I was like way over the top about. Like I had 30 eyeshadow palettes, but I had like 2 foundations. So although I have a no buy and it's been for 2 years, I'm still buying foundations because I use them up. I bring new ones in, so I have foundation. So there's a little caveat there, I suppose, but so I don't know, like it's setting your rules, I guess, too. So I guess that's another tip, is set your rules. So for me, my no buy was nothing of my inflated categories where I just had too many things. And I think it was like anytime I had more than 2 items of that, and that's whenever I was like, okay, that's too much. For the most part, some areas are different, but yeah, setting your rules. So setting your why, setting your rules, de-enchanting makeup, and then getting to know what you have, I think, as well. So yeah, I think that's it. Sorry for that weird like out of order piece, but that's it. Let us know everything else. Like let us know your tips, and I'll put down some people down below, like obviously Hannah Louise and Lauren May Beauty. I'll go ahead and put their channels down below as to like the no buys, but I'll put down like a bunch of project planners that I watch, who a lot of them too are on no buys, low buys, or at least like trying to use up makeup as much as possible, which is also something that, you know, that sort of mentality of using up versus getting is helpful. So yeah, I'm gonna leave some resources down below, some people to check out, and also let us know your tips and tricks and yeah, your feelings, and answer those questions that Marta put down. And thank you, Marta, for asking this. So anyways, longest outro ever, but thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and have a good day.